best part of the playable ad is not teaching the gameplay rules to the user. It's making users enjoy from this experience. So the best thing to do in playable ad is make it simple, make it interactable, asking users interaction, and at the end leave users to feel like they need to go and test it again. You can't put a playable ad with $100. It will get maybe one click.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Apptica Talks podcast, where we discuss hot topics with great experts in mobile industry. And I'm sharing our studio today with Gökçe Oguz, co-founder at Playable Factory. And judging from the company's name, you may easily guess that our conversation will be all about playable ads. Hi Gökçe, how are you today?
Hello Ksenia, I am great. How are you? Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm great as well. So pretty excited about our upcoming conversation. So, but before we start, I would like to learn more about the path in the industry, how you got this idea in general to create Playable Factory.
Yeah, I was actually doing PhD on mechanical engineering. I am graduated from mechanical engineering, but I was always interested in gaming. Also with my other founders, we were like always playing board games, mobile games, PC games, and then we wanted to be in this sector because we like it. We wanted to earn money from something we enjoy more. So that's why we entered gaming. And then in gaming, first we have started with learning about UA. At that time, hyper casual was very popular. Then we learned about hyper casual, how you can make UA, how you can earn money from those games, or what is the important part for those games. And then we realized that playable ads are very important. And at that time, playable ads was a little bit hard to get. You only get it from ad networks. They create it for you as a gift to work with them. But those playable ads are like short, not very high quality because they do it for a lot of clients. And you can't use the same one for all the ad networks. You can't control or test it. In video ads, they are testing like anything they want. But in playable ads, they are limited to only the thing that they got from ad networks. So that's why we said that, okay, this is very important and a big player is missing in this area. So that's why we wanted to do something on playable ads.
Great. So yeah, we see these positive trends, and playable ads are getting more and more popular. So and we are pretty happy to have Playable Factory and you as our partners. And for our listeners who have missed our recent article, we have it published on our blog section, and there we are also exploring this field of playable ads together with Playable Factory. And while we were preparing the content for this article, we analyzed the whole field of the playable ads, and we actually indicated this positive trend. The share for playable ads keeps growing. For example, if we compare 2022 and 2023 on iOS, the growth was around 2.7%. There was a slight decline on Android, but in general, if we take the first quarter of this year, the second quarter, so some months of the second quarter of 2024, we also see that now the shares are growing for both platforms for playable ads. So more and more publishers, they're trying to implement this strategy. They're trying to test playable creatives. It's great. And one more point here for this positive trend, that's the share of the creatives that run for more than 30 days. For example, if we take playable ads, it's around 6% of on iOS and Android. So around 6% of all the ads, they might run for more than a month. If we take static banners or videos, usually the numbers there are around 3% or even less. So we see that playable ads are quite good performers. So what makes in general playable ads are so enticing for publishers, taking into consideration this costly production, some problems with technicalities, this growing CPI, and thus this trend for cutting the budgets?
as a nature, playable ads are playable, so you can interact with them, and that's the most important part, I think, because people are a little bit bored from the ads, like static ads, video ads. There are a lot of video ads everywhere, so people don't see them, don't watch them, they want to get rid of it. But playable ads are totally different. They can give you a feeling of real gameplay experience if it is a high quality playable ad. If it is not a fake playable ad, you can really play and enjoy it. Like, I have seen some children from my relatives that they like playable ads more from the game they are playing already. So they say that they are waiting for this man to save from danger to play this match 3 playable ad while they are playing the game. So I think that's the most important part, so that you can enjoy this real gameplay experience. And also the other thing is, as you know, rewarded ads are very important in the gaming. This compared to interstitial ads, these rewarded ads are the ads that you watch it to earn something. So you have to wait for 30 seconds to earn this earning from this rewarded ad. And while waiting for 30 seconds, this playable ads come in a point so that they are making this waiting more enjoyable compared to watching a video ad for 30 seconds. So that's why playable ads are performing way better in rewarded ads as well. And also, like compared to last 2-3 years, technology is increasing. These download speeds are increasing, file size limits are increasing. That is making us to allowing us to make better playable ads, better gameplay experiences. Maybe like 4 years ago, playable ads were very simple. Everybody was expecting a less quality version of the game from playable ads, because it is a playable ad. It is like 2 megabytes. But right now it is not like that. All of our clients are expecting same quality of the gameplay from the playable ads, with very high visual quality, very high feeling experience. So that's why the feeling of the playable ads are also getting better and better.
Yeah, so from what I see, you work a lot with playable ads, and you have a lot of playable ads running through your product as you work quite closely with your clients. Based on this expertise that you have, can you share some secrets maybe behind the top performers? So is there an ideal length for the playable creative, or ideal mechanic, ideal number of taps for the players?
Yeah. What I can say is, when you make ideation for the playable ads, your aim shouldn't be teaching the game to the user. When our clients want to control the ideation for the playable ads, they can focus on teaching the gameplay to user in this 30 seconds. Actually, the best part of the playable ad is not teaching the gameplay rules to the user. It's making users enjoy from this experience. So that's why we are not focusing on the gameplay rules. We are not focusing on teaching something to users. We are focusing on get their attention. And in this process, the most important thing for the playable ad is the first like 3-4 seconds, where you need to create a scene that needs a user interaction. Maybe it can be saving someone from danger. Maybe it can be something that you want to touch or break or pop or something like this, that is asking for you to do something. When in those cases, the first clicks rates are getting very high. So that's why the intro part becomes more and more important. We are focusing on that a lot. We are creating different intro scenes for playable ads so they can test and find the best one. And in the gameplay, we are trying to do something like this. We are trying to give a gameplay experience where user plays, but at the end they can't get fully satisfied, so they need to go and play the real game. Maybe it can be a very hard scenario. They failed, but they want to solve it. They want this success, but this fail shouldn't be a very obvious fail. It should be a like fail that you can blame yourself. This is also working a lot in playable ads. So you want to try and beat it, kind of. This danger theme, as I said, asking your input is very popular for like 2 years, but still it is working. and all type of gameplays are testing it. So it is also it can be worth to try it. And for the playable ad, we don't have to focus on only the real gameplay positioning or the look. So we can change it. We can make it more simple. We can add different elements to make it more understandable or more interactable. So that's why we are trying new ideas, adding new mechanics, simple mechanics, or making the real mechanic simpler. So the best thing to do in Playable Ads is make it simple, make it interactable, asking users interaction, and at the end leave users to feel like they need to go and test it again.
So, do I get it right that we still have danger part, then we have failure mechanic, and we have puzzle
Yes.
mechanics. So, okay, so they're still on the top
Yes.
of the mechanics. And as for the length, you've mentioned several times 30 seconds. So, these 30 seconds is the ideal length for the playable, or we can prolong until 45 till 60 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds I think is the longest, but sometimes it can be less. If the playable ad is used along with a video ad, so they are watching like maybe 15-second video ad and then they are seeing a playable, then in those scenarios, playables with 4 or 5 clicks, like maybe 10 seconds gameplay, are working better. But if playable ad is used as a standalone ad unit, so it would be like 30-second gameplay experience would be better, maybe like 20-25. But longer than that is not very common. It is not played by the user. So the play times for this 30-second gameplay is maybe like 10-second, 15-second average. But we don't see a very long play time for playable ads.
And do you see any difference in terms of this interactivity? For example, if a user clicks or taps 2 times, or it's supposed to have more than 10, 20 taps for the creative. So this engagement with the creative has some implications.
Yes. This is depending on the positioning of the playable ads. Again, I am saying that if in the interstitial, the less clicks are working fine. If it is in the rewarded and alone, the higher number of clicks are working fine. Because if they, for instance, in interstitial, you have this close button, you want to get rid of this ad. So you don't want to give too much time. But if it is a 3-4 clicks playable ad, you don't lose time, you can still play it. So you don't need to invest too much time. That's why it is working fine on this position. But in rewarded ads, if you play the gameplay in 4 or 5 seconds, rest 25 seconds, you will wait. So that's why the longer playable ads are working fine in those scenarios. But sometimes even it is a fake thing, like leading users to the store in like 3 clicks, 2 clicks. It can seem like a very fake experience. Still, it can work. The reason is that if you have a very big, very good playable ad with good visuals, so they want to play it, they start, they engage, but in their second click, third click, they see this app store view. So actually, it is reducing a friction because we are stepping the point where user decides to click to go to store. This can make some users angry, but some users, okay, I can download it. So it's making things easier for them. So in some scenarios, this is also working very good. But for a lot
So
of
there are these users who don't mind being trapped into being redirected to the store pages of the apps. So you've mentioned just several seconds ago about this hybrid mode. So sometimes publishers test videos plus playables, and we also see this blend, I would say, of different formats in Apptica. For example, the main part it's playable, the end card is video, or vice versa. CTI it's in the playable format, but the main part is video. So there are a lot of tests around that. ad, and you also recently have started testing another hybrid mode with UGC parts. So how this experiment is going right now for you? What preliminary results you experience now? Have you noticed any drastic changes once you introduced the user-generated content within your Playable creatives?
Yeah. As you know, user-generated content is working very good for some games in video ads. So they are trying a lot of user-generated things, and it can be the best performing ad unit for some ad networks specifically that requires this. But for Playable Ads, there wasn't any case like this. But we have seen that UGC can be also used in Playable Ads as well. What we have thought was we can make an intro scene that is very catchy from this UGC content and asking you to test this Playable ad. And it can bond this Playable ad with real life, so you can be a part of it. So that's why we wanted to try this. We have made some videos like this and tested with our clients. We have seen some good performances, but the testing is still going. I don't have a data at the moment, but it is going fine. So we are testing it with the clients, and also it can be important to use it when Playable is used as a standalone case, because you don't have a video in front of Playable ads. You can't put any UGC content if you don't put it in the Playable ad. So with this methodology, you will have a very unique intro scene in your Playable ad, and it will be a UGC content. But in the case of video plus Playable ads, maybe you can put this UGC as a video in front of Playable ad. You can try to mimic it, but we put it inside the Playable ad to make it more connected for the user.
Yeah, so to make it more organic, I would say,
Yes.
just not quite like UGC part, pause, then you have Playable part. So
Yeah,
you somehow tried to blend it.
Yes, you can think it like this: a person is playing this Playable ad or the game, and they are asking you to play it, and then you see the game exactly at the same time. So you are like in the real life and also in the game.
Yeah. I guess that might be a great strategy for some publishers, just to try both trends, UGC trend and Playable trend, together and check the results. While we are talking about the Playable ads, I subconsciously think of the games, and I believe our listeners may agree with me on that, because there is this strong correlation of Playables and games. But what about non-gaming verticals? So I've seen many examples actually among food apps, shopping apps. So they were also trying to introduce this format into their inventory. Are you currently working with non-gaming clients, and how is it going for them, this Playable strategy?
Yeah. Actually, as I said, the important part for the Playable ad is asking for users' interaction and engage with the thing, with the ad. In games, the usage is different. In games, the objective is to give the feeling of the real gameplay experience to users. But in brands and apps, it is asking for users interaction for the ad. So that's why we are doing some gamification projects for the apps and brands, so that users can enjoy from the ads instead of watching a video, kind of. So in this gamification process, we can make simple gameplay experiences for the users, and we can do it for brand awareness. We can do it to show them a new product line, or we can do it to show them how to use an app. Like maybe it is a food ordering app, so you can make a gamification for how to order a food inside the app, kind of thing. Anything is possible. Also, data is coming important for these kinds of Playable ads, because you can track data, which product is more appealing for the user. For instance, we asked for 3 dresses to wear on this girl. I think it's a game. You can think of it like this. And then we can track the data. Okay, this dress is more appealing for the users. Maybe I can use this dress more on my ads, kind of thing. So this is also very important. And this playable ads doesn't have to be ads only. The thing we are doing is a mini game. So these brands and apps can use it in their apps as well. For instance, they have an app, they can put a mini gamification button where users can play and they can track their data. So they use it on their website as an intro, for instance. It is the same thing actually, but the usage of it is more for brands and apps, and it is getting more and more popular among brands apps, because they are more using digital advertisement. They are using ads inside games a lot, and where playable ads work very well. So the usage is getting more and more important for them with time.
So it's not only about acquiring users for these apps, but also for brand awareness and for the tracking possibilities, so they can track somehow the user behavior and understand something for them. I mean, make some conclusions. So, for example, what elements of these playable ads the user likes the most, and then somehow implement it for their products. Yeah. Okay. Clear.
I want to add one more thing. They can also give coupons or discount codes with the ad as well. So at the start, they can say that, okay, if you reach this score, you can get a 20% off. So that's actually making user to play it more. And then if the user succeed, they can get this discount coupon or anything that they give. And for this type of playable ads,
yeah, I remembered the example of this ad. I guess Temu had this strategy. They were giving some coupons, the discount ones, within their playable ads. So
yes,
I saw this example.
Yeah, and also for this type of playable ads, we have a tool called Ready, where there are a lot of games already templated. So the users can come and put all of their visuals inside these games and make it a unique experience for their users, and put it on anywhere they want. So it is already coded game where you can edit and make it look like your own kind of ad and use it very fast.
And I guess it's a great one because for some people out there in the industry, playable ads is another universe because it demands some coding skills, and it might be hard to create this HTML or other formats of the playable ads, and such instrument and platform as Playable Factory may ease the whole process. But based on this difficulty level difficult technical issues, sometimes publishers experience some bugs and problems while running their playable ads through the networks. And I've heard a lot of complaints for these networks, for different DSPs, that the users they just have black screen, and they can't see this playable ad due to some error, due to some bug. So do you have these partnerships maybe with some networks, with DSPs, that could help you enhance this the whole working strategy with the playables and to avoid these technical problems?
Yeah, we have a testing department with a lot of different devices that we are doing device testing for all the playable ads. But for this device testing, it is important to test the playable ad in the real placement, because you can test it in the web browser, it can work, but in the placement, maybe it doesn't. So in that case, we need to make playable ads to be able to test it from real experience, where we partner up with ad networks. We have their own testing devices, testing apps, where we put the playable ad and test it. And with Moloko, we are partnering very closely. We have all the DSPs testing apps where we can test it in the real environment. So that's why our playable ads are working in many phones, I can say. with high quality, but there are a lot of different phones and a lot of different OS. So that's why maybe in some very old phones with some phone combination, it doesn't work. It is very hard to make sure it works in all of the devices. It is a little bit hard. In iOS, it is easier, by the way, because the OS is same and you can test it easily because there isn't too much different phones. But in Android, there are a lot of brands, a lot of different OS versions. So it is getting hard and hard to test it in all of them. But we are testing all of our playable ads in all the ad networks possible, and with Moloko's help in all the DSPs possible.
So, and following this topic of the networks, in one of your interviews, you've mentioned that the brands and apps running campaigns in SDK networks are the ones mostly using playable ads because they are performing the best in those networks. So I just was curious about this statement. Could you please explain a bit more in a detailed way what you meant by that? So if the network has its own SDK, it somehow improves the quality or like the working strategies with the playables?
Yeah. In SDK ad networks, the playable ads quality is, of course, higher. And that's why in those scenarios, playable ads are working very well. But right now, like from last year, in DSPs also playable ads are working fine. As I said, with Moloko's help, we have get this DSP testing ad networks for all the ad network, supplier ad networks. And we realized that it is totally different than SDK ad networks. So we added different things in our playable ads to working fine on these DSPs. If we didn't have this testing apps, our playable ads would be maybe working not well in those DSPs. So it is very important. Now we are sure that with Moloko's partnership, we can see that DSPs are getting very well clicked and working fine. We are seeing high performance in playable ads in Moloko, for instance, because of this testing strategy. But in SDK, the testing apps was already present. So it was easy to test and it is working very well on all of these ad networks for a very long time. It is not a new thing. But when I say these brands and apps who use SDK ad networks get good performance, actually I was trying to compare it with maybe Facebook and Google. In those scenarios, for instance, Facebook is very common to use in brands or apps, but playable ads not working very good on Facebook because the placement is not as organic as in the real gameplay ads, because you need to use it on the Facebook app, and in your flow you see something that you click and play, so it is like more friction. You need to click to play the playable ad and then click to download it. Too much steps. That's why playable ads are not working very good on Facebook or in Google as well. They are aiming to improve this performance for playable ads because they know playable ads are working very good. Actually, they can solve the problem. I don't know what is the problem. But if the ad is placed in between gameplay while the user play games, of course, playable ads are working better. The user already knows how to interact. It is a full screen experience. They already know these kinds of ads. So that's why it is better for brands or apps to use it in the game.
So if we compare uploading and Facebook, on uploading, the playable ads will be working much, much better rather than on Facebook.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, clear. Yeah. So I suggest we move a bit to the financial part. So money matters always. And here it's quite, I guess, from my perspective, it's quite hard to understand when you can test the playables and get the expected ROI out of it. So where is this balance between expanding your inventory with playables and getting enough users? Again, taking into account the growing CPI, so everyone is quite cautious and is quite is trying to save money, and playables, they're quite costly to produce, as we all know. But still, so where is this point that, okay, I can understand that I can go for it, I can try. Of course, if we're talking about $100 for the ad campaign, there is no much sense to go with playables. But maybe there is this benchmark, for example, at least if you have $1,000, then perhaps you might try playables and get good results out of it.
Yeah, you said the right thing about this budget. It is the most important thing to Playable Ad to perform, because if you have a campaign that spends $100 daily, you can't get a good performance from Playable Ad. It is taking more time to learn campaigns with Playable Ad. And if you want to test Playable Ad, maybe you want to test 3-4 different Playable Ads, you need to spend more money. So for our clients, we are asking, are you using Playable Ads? Do you want to use Playable Ads in SDK ad networks? Do you have a campaign that is going on in SDK networks where you spend daily maybe like $500, $1,000, and how is the performance there? And if they say yes, we are doing these campaigns, or maybe in Moloko as DSP, other DSPs, I am not sure is it good to start with Playable Ads in a DSP other than Moloko, but in SDK networks, it's a better place to start testing Playable Ads, because we already know Playable Ads is working very good in those ad networks. So if they don't have any campaign on SDK ad networks, we are saying, okay, first you should do it. You should have a campaign that is spending well. Then you need to invest on Playable Ads. It is not a very good idea to start testing with Playable Ads instead of videos at first, because you need to have a good, you need to have something to compare. They need to say that, okay, Playable Ads are not working well, I can use only video. That's why they need to have a campaign already running. So if they say yes, we have a good campaign, we are spending more than 1,000 daily, and we say that, okay, you can invest on Playable Ads. By the way, this is not only because Playable Ads are expensive, or because we have a tool called Flex where they can create Playable Ads by themselves from the videos. So it is way more cheaper than the real gameplay we develop. It is not a costly thing, but still with this low budget campaigns, they wouldn't get a performance. So it is not related to pricing of the Playable Ad, it's related to campaigns strategy. But if they have a good campaign, they can test Playable Ads. They need
so it's
to.
not all about money. Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes money is not the main factor.
Yeah, that's how campaigns work with Playable Ads in SDK ad networks. You can't put a Playable Ad with $100. It will get maybe one click.
But can you share maybe some successful cases in your portfolio to cheer up our audience and somehow maybe to show how these playable ads can actually improve the performance and bring good results despite all the challenges that we have?
Yeah. For instance, for Peak's Match Factory game, we have made a Playable Ad, and we have made an intro with a balloon, for instance, that the users tap and pop the balloons to enter the Playable Ad, and this increased the Playable Ads engagement ratio to 60% compared to 25 previously, and it increased the CTI rates from 15 to 30, like doubled it. So Playable Ads are sometimes, for some games that are maybe it is not ROI positive, the campaign is not spending too much, but with a Playable Ad, the campaign can start to scale. This also happened with some of our clients for a couple of games. They have seen a high performance with Playable Ads for the games they already stopped working on it. And then they start to work on those games again, because they are now seeing a good performance with Playable Ad only. As numbers, Playable Ads are increasing click rates a lot. I can't say a definite number. It is changing game by game. But for puzzle games, it is working as a best performing unit, and our listeners can also see it from the playable ads. They see like for match 3 games, for merge games, they most probably the best performing ad unit is playable ads. We have seen it from all of our clients. It is a must to test playable ads for those type of gameplay.
Yeah, and we can confirm that because in our section in the top creatives, top 1%, when you click on that in our gallery, the first rows that you will see there, so it will be all the playable ads. So then followed by videos, but the first rows, the top creatives will be the playables, so the top performers.
Yeah.
So everything is backed up by numbers and by figures. Okay, so I would like to wrap up our conversation with the current trends that you see now and that you expect to have in the upcoming future within the user acquisition field and within the realm of the playable ads. So what to expect from the industry?
As you know, AI is getting more and more popular with time. So I believe in the future, AI will be in these processes more. It can be in the data part on UA. It is not on our side, but in our business, it will be on the visual side. This asset creation part, it will be definitely an important tool for us to use, because still currently we are using it to create the assets. It's made everything easier for us. We don't need to draw something. We don't need to sketch it. It is very fast to use AI to get what you want. We are using it for the ideation. We are using it to make coding easier. So it is the easiest things to use AI right now. But in future, I am expecting AI to be more involved in the creation part, where with the help of AI, maybe creating playable ads will be very easy. Maybe there will be a tool where you show your game and get your playable ad, or maybe write what you need and then get your playable ad. I don't know. It will be an easy thing. Maybe it will be a solution for users to create playable ads for themselves. That's what I hope. And we want to invest on this part too. If it is possible, we want to be the ones who create it for the users.
And what should we expect from Playable Factory? What
Yeah.
projects, what new aims, what new goals you have right now?
We are focused on more self-service tools from last year, because we want to make playable ads more scalable, cheaper solution for every UA people to test it in their campaigns. That's why we first created Flex, where they create playable ads from their videos very fast, maybe in 10 seconds, but get a good experience. And then we made published Ready, where brands and apps can come and create gamification projects, gameplay experiences for their users easily. And for the future, for playables, we want to focus on AI more. But other than playables, we have some projects for the UA, but not involving playable ads. It's something we are working on, but not publicly said. If it is successful, I will
So
say
we are
it.
waiting for some updates. Yes,
Yeah.
so looking forward to these updates and to the news from your side. Okay, so it's great to hear that you have a lot of plans, and I hope you will succeed in every endeavors you have. So that's it, I guess. Thanks a lot for your expertise and for your answers. I guess our conversation has made us all a bit more savvy in the field of the playable ads. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel not to miss the next episodes with great experts, and follow our pages of Apptica and Playable Factories on LinkedIn to get more and more insightful content. So thank you, Gökçe, one more time for being with us today.
Thank you, Ksenia. It was very nice.